Thank you for joining us today. We're here talking to Rachel Eves from West Berkshire Training Consortium, who is going to talk to us a little bit about the recruitment process involved in recruiting an apprentice. A lot of employers find this a bit of a sticking point as they don't understand the process and how it works. So we just wanted to put together a bit of a Q&A video for you, just to see how the process works, how WBTC is involved, and how the involvement that you'll need as an employer. So Rachel, thank you very much for joining us today. Do you want to just tell us a little bit of a background, firstly, maybe to your role and how you work with employers, just so we can kind of get a bit of context?
Certainly. So thank you for having me today. I work in the business development team. My role is to work with both employers and those who are looking to seek an apprenticeship. So it's really that person that goes out, meets local businesses, finds out their requirement, their need, and then match that with those people who are out there looking to start an apprenticeship.
So, going straight into it, what is it that an employer would need to do as part of the process?
The first thing an employer needs to do really is to look at their business, see where they have a requirement, a need, and then from that you're looking at the vacancy. The key thing is to create a job description, and they can do that independently or after talking to somebody like myself. And you need to make sure that that job description matches one of the apprenticeship standards available. So that's the qualification the apprentice would do. It's very important that when you are employing somebody and giving them the job title of an apprentice, that they're working towards a recognised qualification, and that has to be recognised by the government. Generally, it's an apprenticeship standard. And the key thing is the job they're doing, the experience that they're getting in the training, all must match up to meet that standard so that they can achieve.
Okay. Okay, brilliant, thank you. And so while the employer's doing that side of it, what is it that WBTC would be doing?
So it depends on the employer's request. We work with different employers in different ways. We have some employers who will ask us to be involved in the whole recruitment process. There are really sort of three different levels. We have some employers who will say they have an apprentice that they're looking to enrol, or they're beginning the recruitment. Could we check to see if the vacancy is appropriate for an apprenticeship? Look to see a good match, right the way through to where we might place an ad for an employer, send the response through to them, and then at the other extreme is where we will literally sit right from scratch, help develop the vacancy, advertise the role. We will be involved in interviewing, shortlisting, and present the employer with a short list of candidates suitable for the role and for an apprenticeship for them to then make their selection from. So it really depends on the employer's need.
Okay. So that kind of leads on nicely to the next question is, how is the position advertised that the employer has got available?
So the main site that people will use to look for an apprenticeship is through gov.uk, which is the Find an Apprenticeship site. So we would advertise the vacancy on there. Again, the response can come to us to sift through, or can go to the employer. We would advertise on our website. We'd use social media. We'd always encourage an employer to use their own website. Gov.uk links through to Indeed. We've also got connections with local schools, colleges, and other sources. Just because we've been around so long, we know where to find these candidates. So it would be advertised across a wide range of platforms.
And who would do the interviewing? Would that be the employer or would that be WBTC?
So again, it depends on what the employer has requested. If we have been involved right the way through the process, we would always interview. Whatever happens, we'd ask the employer to do final interviews. So it could be, I've done initial interviews, given a shortlist to the employer for them to interview and follow their in-house process through. If the employer has decided they want to do the interviews themselves and don't want to involve us, we would always ask towards the end of the process to talk to us about their shortlist, to make sure that any candidates they've selected meet the criteria of the apprenticeship programme. And also we would always ask to speak to somebody before or as they're appointed, just to ensure they understand the apprenticeship side of things as well. So interviews could be them, us, or both.
Great. And Is there a cost involved in the recruitment process?
There might be. So depending again on the level, we have some employers who, if they've decided they would just like us to promote the vacancy, there's no cost. When you're going to the other extreme where we are doing the interviewing, we're sourcing the candidates, then there's a minimal cost. Nothing like what you'd expect to pay a high street recruitment agency. It's a nominal cost that really is out there as a charity, just to help cover our costs of the time put into the recruitment.
How do employers know how much to pay to attract a good candidate?
We would give them advice. So based on our knowledge of the marketplace, we would say generally for West Berkshire in particular as an area, you will not always get really good candidates coming through on the absolute lowest that you can pay. So whilst the government sets a specific national minimum wage for apprentices, generally speaking, most employers in this area pay above that. So we would always give you an idea about what competitors have paid, who we've successfully worked with, to give you an idea of that market rate.
Great. And then would an apprentice need a contract of employment like a normal employee?
Yes, they would. So it's really key that when you are starting up this process that you know what is expected. All the employers that we work with become members of WBTC. So when you're working with us, whether you do your own recruitment or whether we help you, we offer an HR specialist service at no charge. We have a company we work with that will give you advice on putting a contract in place. It's really important you get this right from the start and the wording of the contract is correct.
And what happens once an apprentice is recruited? Is there kind of an ongoing cost involved?
With regards to the recruitment, it depends on the level of service. So possibility for that. For the apprentice themselves, so once they've been appointed, we would, if the employer's asked to do this, we can decline candidates as well for you. And then from that, the successful apprentice is onboarded. A training consultant is allocated. They put together an individual learning plan for that apprentice. Depending on the age of the apprentice, you may have to co-fund for their training. And the recruitment charge would depend on the options that you've taken. The absolute maximum you'd be looking to pay over the duration that they're with you is around about £1,100–1,200.
And finally, probably the most important question, why would an employer choose to work with WBTC?
Our experience is quite vast. So we've been in business around about 40 years. So that's a lot of apprentices that we've either worked with or recruited. So we have good local market knowledge. On top of that, we've got connections. We're in with all the schools. We know the different organisations that support young people who are looking for apprenticeships. So we have a good knowledge about how to get this up and running. On top of that, the support that we put in place is second to none. So for several miles around here, so within the local area and beyond, our success rates, our achievement rates, our employer satisfaction rates are way above the national average and our competitors. And that's down to working with a really good team of people who deliver the apprenticeship as well. So for us, working with us means really looking at the individual that you're taking on, making sure the employer understands their responsibilities, making sure they're on the right programme. And if you can get all of those elements together, there will be a successful outcome. We ask all of our employers to have a mentor in place. So this is somebody who can really support that person through their programme. We ask employers to send their mentors on a half-day workshop. So this is free of charge, part of our value-added service, where they come to us and they are given the tools to make sure that they can do their best to support that apprentice. And that's built on the experience we have, the experiences of our employers, dealing with young people, knowing the obstacles they might come across, and just making them confident that they're there, you know, doing a good job in supporting that person through their learning. All of our employers, as they become members, get access to our value-added courses. They are free of charge for any member of their team, and they cover things from change management, time management, first aid, real variety of tools that will help the company as a whole, and also making sure that apprentices has got the support in place.
So if you could just run through the steps, Rachel, that an employer would have to take if they're looking to recruit an apprentice.
Certainly. So the first thing they'd need to do is to look at the job description, speak with us. We would obviously consult to make sure the description matched the standard. We'd then agree on the recruitment service that they were looking to use. From that, the role would be advertised. Again, depending on whether they wanted to deal with the response themselves or we were involved with that, it would be a question of we would get CVs through. I'd also look through candidates that I've already met with. CVs get reviewed, interviews take place, we decline unsuccessful candidates, and then from that it's speaking to that shortlist or talking to the employer about the shortlist to make sure they are all suitable candidates for an apprenticeship. Then when they make their offer, we would then ask to speak to that candidate, run through how the apprenticeship works, and then we book them for their onboarding, and that's where their apprenticeship journey begins.
Brilliant, thank you very much.